You're watching Main Street on WLMB with hosts Jamie Schmitz and Virginia Bosse.
And welcome once again to Main Street. So glad to have you joining us today. I'm Jeff Milslegel and Virginia Bosse sitting in again today. How you doing?
Oh, I am doing wonderful, Jeff. So glad to have you here again on Main Street. And we are going to be having a fascinating show today, talking about, keeping your spouse interested in you.
Marriage is going to be a big topic we're talking about today, but I need to let you folks know what's going on again. Last week, I know many of you joined us in prayer. We prayed for Lily, and Lily Schmitz, Jamie and Rachel's daughter, and she was really kind of in a bad way this time last week.
She was not doing well. She had an infection, and but you know what, Jeff? Things have turned around, and she is now home from the Toledo Children's Hospital, doing much better, praise the Lord, and they expect a full recovery and for her to be running around just like she ever was, in just a couple of weeks. Yeah,
so we're really glad that Lily's doing better, and thanks so much for joining us in prayer last week as we prayed for her. Okay, we have to talk about marriage. Now, you and Ben, you've been married for how long? 13, 14 years, I think?
This last July made 14 years, but I know you've got me beat, Jeff.
Yeah, just a little bit, yeah. Orphan and I have been married coming up on 33 years here, and later on this fall. And you know what? One thing that is interesting about marriage, no one really told us much when we entered into this. Marriage is hard work, isn't it?
Oh, they didn't tell you that it was just going to be
really
roses all the time?
Wonderful, yes, all the time. Yeah.
Well, yes, and even in my short 14 years of marriage, yes, there are hard times, and there are times where you just really have to dig in and do the hard work that's necessary to, keep the love alive.
And so that's what we're going to be talking about on today's edition of Main Street Marriage, because we believe in marriage, and we really want to be able to give you some practical information. So we have a great guest on today. Tell me about that.
Yes, Craig Miller, counselor, therapist, from Masterpiece Counseling. He's going to be in today to give us, tips and warning signs of, when your mate loses interest in you and how to turn that all around.
That's going to be coming up next on Main Street. But before we talk about that, we need to take a look at the WLMB weather break.
It's time now to take a look at WLMB weather, your weather break, taking a look at Wednesday and beyond. High pressure up over north of Lake Superior down into Kentucky. We'll see showers moving off to the east. Lots of sunshine over western and northern Ohio, where we're going to keep that next cold front on its way. And as it does, it's going to bring us some reinforcing cool air and clear air for the weekend upcoming. Round of storms in between those. So high pressure for your Wednesday. Sunny skies, nice day, 81 degrees, 63 Wednesday night, partly cloudy, milder, south breeze at about 9 miles per hour. Look ahead into Thursday, again, isolated storms, but warmer and sunny. Friday, scattered showers and thunderstorms becoming likely. That'll keep us at about 74. Behind that next front, though, a very, very nice weekend on tap for mid-August. Looking for sunshine both Saturday and Sunday. Cooler with middle 70s for highs and middle 50s for overnight lows, both mornings as well. Let's look at your weather forecast. I'm meteorologist Jason McLeave. We'll take it back to the studio now for more Main Street right here on WLMB.
In today's spotlight is Blanchard Avenue Pentecostal Church of God in Findlay, Ohio. They're going to be having their back to school summer slam. They're going to be giving away free school supplies, haircuts, vision screenings, and dental screenings. And this is for all children, grades kindergarten through 12th grade. No income requirements. And this will all take place at the Cube on North Main Street in Findlay. And then over at the WPOS Christian Center in Holland, Ohio, next weekend they're going to have a couple of great concerts that you don't want to miss. On Friday night, August 24th, Guy Penrod will be there 7 p.m. And now many of you are familiar with Guy Penrod, and he's been part of the Gaithers vocal band for 14 years. Tickets for that concert, just $18. And then the following evening, on Saturday the 25th, the Tallies will be at WPOS, and their concert is just $15. Now, if you're interested in going to both the Tallies and the Guy Penrod concert, there is a special ticket deal that you can get both tickets for $35, and that will also include a meal that will be served before the concert on Saturday from 5:30 to 7 p.m. If you would like to get your tickets at the door, it's just an additional $3. There's some other ticket information. You can get Artist Circle tickets. Just go to itickets.com to check all that out. And then if you're in the Camden, Michigan area, then you're going to want to join Lou Sterrett at Chester Park as he presents the Sermon on the Mount, where he will illustrate life principles through the training of a horse. This show is free for you and the entire family. That's next weekend, Friday through Sunday, various time showings there, August 24th through the 26th. Now, there is still time to sign up for your church or organization or home group to be a host location for Harvest America, where Pastor Greg Laurie will deliver a simulcast message, and that's next Sunday, August 26th. Now, if you would like more information on any of these events or to get your event on the Community Spotlight, then go to WLMB.com and check that out.
And thank you, Virginia. Yes, by the way, Pastor Greg Laurie is going to be returning to WLMB this fall. You'll want to stay watching about that and read your program guide as it gets sent out. We'll be keeping you updated on that. When we come back, we are going to take a look at a topic of marriage and specifically how to keep your spouse interested in you. That's all next on Main Street.
Zoop is celebrating 6 years in business in Maumee. Zoop offers 12 handcrafted soup varieties each day from a collection of hundreds of proprietary recipes, including many nutritional and diet-specific varieties. Our award-winning chicken pot pie and lobster bisque are offered daily. We also feature custom-made grilled sandwiches and 7 healthy salads to make any lunch or dinner a satisfying meal. Zoop can even cater your event or meeting, serving 10 to 150 people. Call Zoop at 724-ZOOP.
Hi, I'm Fred Haywood from Simply Built LLC. I started this company to turn my passions and my hobbies into my life's work. I'm a local woodworker and I specialize in all things from custom-made cabinets to custom-made trims and moldings. It's important to me to make all of my customers feel like family.
His creativity and craftsmanship produced a project far beyond our expectations. Fred's a joy to work with.
So if you're looking for that perfect piece of furniture but you can't find it anywhere, look no further than Simply Built.
Now, back to Main Street.
And welcome once again back to Main Street, talking about marriage and how to keep your spouse interested in you. I have author, therapist, counselor, Craig Miller. Craig, good to have you here.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, this is a big topic, so why don't we jump right into this? How do you keep your spouse interested in you?
Jeff, we could have a whole list of different things that the husband and wife could do, but really, well, the wife likes it when the man shows an interest in them, when they come up with a date night or when they go for a walk or something very simple. And even just showing interest in them and what are we going to do or talking about the day. Men like it when women show an interest in what they're doing, show appreciation in what they're doing and giving a favorite meal. But you know, the most common comment I hear from them is that it only lasts a week. Okay, maybe 2 weeks. It doesn't last that long. So the real issue, Jeff, is why does it not last? Or why does the spouse have to keep on bringing up, why don't you show interest in me? That's really the big issue.
Okay, so how common is this problem where spouses are not really interested in each other and are emotionally disconnected? How common is this?
Well, in the busyness of life, as we get busier and busier, there's a lot of loneliness out there. And people don't know that there's 10 to 20 million people that are lonely out there.
10 to 20 million?
Yes, in married couples. Yes, you could be married and very lonely. And out of that, 3 out of 4 of those that are unhappy live with a spouse that thinks everything is just fine.
Wow, so this is a big problem that our country is facing, and of course is prevalent in churches and everything else, isn't it?
And what needs to happen, though, Jeff, is that they need to bring Christ back into the marriage, both of them together. And they need to have that as the center and work off of that. But unfortunately, there's a big division that happens. And I know right now, from the reason why I know that you were asking me to come on here, because I believe that there's somebody out there right now that's lonely, that's disappointed. The people that feel that spouse that feel that it just is not going like they thought it would go. And there's a lot of loneliness and despair. And the Bible talks about in Psalms 34:18 that God is with those that are brokenhearted.
Yes.
And he wants to comfort those and help them with that. And I believe that they need to stay focused on that.
Now, Craig, why is this so hard? I mean, if we got nearly 20 million people that are in a lonely relationship like this, why is this so hard for us to get this right?
Well, you need to realize that the courtship is like the first phase of the relationship, and then
it's all fun and happy, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like going to Disneyland. Okay, now marriage is like the ride home.
Okay, yeah.
And so basically, then it's all
turnpike fares and everything else.
Exactly. So the point is that that's the next phase. So we could get busy involved with children, we're getting busy with our careers, we get busy with other things that are going on in terms of our personal lives. Then what happens is the relationship suffers because the husband and wife don't spend that time like they did in courtship because they think everything is just fine because they go to the next phase. But they need to be maintained just like anything else that you want to keep it going. It needs to be maintained.
So what's the root cause for this problem?
Well, how well a couple does emotionally and physically has to do with really two issues.
Okay.
One is either you come from a home, it's really what you learned. What you learned earlier in your life, you take into later in your life. So that if you learn to love the person, there's a lot of affection and mother and father, which is your great role model in terms of developing role modeling, and they teach you how to love, and there's affection going on, and hugs and kisses and I love yous. If that happens, it fills up your love bank, so to speak. You take that into your next relationship, and then you can give away what you received.
So there really is some truth to this about what you see modeled before you.
Yes.
Really does help you with it. What was the other thing that you were mentioning?
Okay, so the second one is if it's the converse of that. If you don't get that love and affection, because it's interesting, I could live in a home with my mom and dad, but not get a lot of affection or hugs and kisses, and I still think I'm loved because I'm just there. And so we take that knowledge, or even if it's discouraged about feelings, and I take that knowledge into the next relationship, and I do the same thing. So you can't give what you don't have.
Right. So we really do need to be aware of how we were even raised and what we saw modeled as spouse relationships to kind of help us with that. Because I've heard the old cliche, and I'm sure you have too, how hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
And you really even see that in marriages, don't you?
Yes. Joyce Myers actually talks a lot about that, and it's very true that we do what we know.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. Yeah,
so we just continue. We always look to have something better than what we had, but we tend to continue what we already know because we don't know the difference. Now, we put our best foot forward in the first phase, which is courtship, but in the second, we just relax, and then we don't do the same thing.
Yeah, Virginia and I were talking earlier. I thought marriage just can be a hard thing, and we have to put the effort into this. Okay, so what happens when there is no emotional and physical connection with your spouse? What happens with this?
All right, so when I'm not giving my emotions to them, or physically, the touch and hugs, and I'm talking about even non-sexually, then what happens is it slowly erodes the relationship. And what happens is if I don't get that love and if I don't get that attention, I begin to look to something else, either outside the marriage, to other people, the friends. That's when affairs start, when we start getting into more and more doing our own personal thing. And when that happens, then that's when emotional death starts in a relationship.
And that's what we obviously want to avoid. You know, we here at WLMB, we believe strongly in marriage, and we're committed to marriage. We have a lot of different programming talking about that, try to give you some practical help, which is why we have Craig here talking about this today. And when we come back, we're going to cover this in detail. In fact, Craig's going to talk about some specific warning signs because he's the expert. He's going to give us some expert advice on how to continually have your spouse interested in you. We'll be right back with more on Main Street.
When I needed an oil change.
When I need new tires.
When we had problems with our transmission.
When I needed to go to a place I could depend on and trust, I took my car to Edge Automotive.
Hi, I'm Jerry Dunn, the owner of Edge Automotive. We're on Eldridge Drive. We've been serving Sylvania and the local area since 1989. The reason so many people keep coming back to us is we keep our customers informed of the condition of their vehicle, we provide accurate estimates, we fully explain repairs and fix it right the first time.
For the best service and sales, come by and see my dad and the guys at Edge Automotive.
At Heron's Amish Furniture and Better Sleep Gallery, we display an incredible selection of quality bedroom furniture that's made here in the USA. And it's not only beautiful, but this month it's all on sale. Plus, you can save on our comfortable Amish-built mattresses sold exclusively here at Heron's. For details on this month's bedroom sale, visit our incredible website at heronsfurniture.com. And for one of the largest displays of quality bedroom furniture in Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan, visit Heron's Amish Furniture in Okolona today.
Now, back to Main Street.
And we're continuing our discussion with Craig Miller, talking about how to keep your spouse emotionally and physically engaged with you. And of course, the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day, and I'm telling you, relationships don't fall apart overnight. So, Craig, what are some real practical warning signs that are really evident to us so we can see if we're maybe going down this road?
Well, the most obvious one is when you just don't have time to talk. Okay, and then interesting, when you don't have time to talk, then the next warning sign would be that whenever you do get together, all you do is talk about the kids. Or you just talk about finances, because you lose that time to talk about the relationship or about how the other person is doing. It's like you miss the interest in the other person. So you have to talk about just the practicalities of like maintaining the home. Okay, so you miss the hard part. That's what happens. The next warning sign could be that, for example, my activities are more and more outside of the home and more outside of having a time together as a family. And even at church, I mean, God bless us, we could get a lot involved in church, and that's really good, but we need to balance that out.
Yeah, I wonder how often this really happens, where we're involved in so many good things. And you know, if you have little kids, you know what this is like. You're running them to soccer practices and every other thing going on. All good, wonderful things, but we end up kind of hurting the most important thing, our spouse, when we're concerned about everything else and really not them, don't we?
Yeah, and oftentimes we get so busy and all that with the children and everything else, we need to look at these warning signs. And for example, another one would be that if one spouse is involved with so many things or trying to maintain the home a lot more than the other, say more than 50% than the other, because everybody thinks they're doing more than the other, but you have to sit down and look at that and then balance it out, because if you both decide to get together, you need to put your 50% in to make that 100%. Another very practical warning sign is if you don't have meals together as a family. And if you do have meals, you're watching TV. Now, except for WLMB, of course.
Yeah, you can watch that anytime,
Right,
yes,
right.
yeah, but beyond that, yes.
Right, so you really don't want to watch TV while you're eating, because that's the best time to actually have communication. In fact, I recommend that if you have meals as often as you possibly can. Statistics have shown that the more meals you have together, the less discipline problems you have. With your kids.
Wow.
Yeah, because you're actually getting involved. James Dobson has shown this statistic where he talks about the more you get involved in the kids' lives, the less discipline, because they know you're going to ask. So I call it the high-low game. You go around the table and you ask what's the high of the day and what's the low of the day. Everybody will talk about that. So anyway, that's a kind of neat thing to do.
And this is something that carries on throughout a marriage when you have kids or you're empty nesters or whatever, isn't it? Okay, so what should a couple do to help keep them from being distant like this?
Right, it's time, and see, time is very precious during this, or especially the early years of marriage. You really need to have somebody take the lead of this. That's the problem, is because everybody gets to do their own thing, and the other person thinks the other person is going to do this. Well, somebody has to take the lead, and really you need to decide that. Now, women, of course, like it when the man takes the lead, because basically they ask, usually you're asking, the man asked the woman to marry them, and so they took the lead then. The woman expects the man to continue that lead. Well, when the man gets really busy in his things that he does, then that decreases, and it's unfortunate. So it's time, whether it's scheduling things, going out together, whether you're taking walks, having a date night, just sitting and talking about how your day was.
So this sounds like these are some practical things that you're giving. So what are some other things that husbands specifically, we're talking about those, us first, what are some practical specific things that we need to do as husbands with our wives?
Okay, men need very practical things so we can visualize, see it, okay, so we can kind of get it.
Yeah, don't make it too complicated for me to think about. Yes, yeah.
So I've got one word for man, and maybe we can get it. Okay, one word.
Okay.
The word is courtship.
I need to write it down. Okay, courtship, yes, go ahead.
It's courtship. All right, now, because think about it. Whatever the man did in the very beginning during courtship that wooed the woman to her to say yes and want to change her whole life for that man, that's what he needs to do. So because she was looking for that to continue after marriage. Okay, but the point is, like, what happened? Why did that stop? And that's what discourages a woman, because they don't get the continuation of what started them to convince them to marry. And so they need to continue to show that they love the love that they started out with, and that's what women look for. It's very simple. Just do what you started to do.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I can work on that. Okay, so let's look at it from the other standpoint. What are some practical...
We're going to call your wife and ask her?
Oh, please don't. I hope she's not watching. Yeah, please don't do that. Okay, so no, what's the other side of it? What are some practical things that wives need to do to really help keep their husbands engaged?
This is even more interesting. Okay, I could give a whole list for what women could do to help a man. But the problem is the woman's already doing it. And the reason why it's a problem because women, because they have the innate nurturing to do these things and to make things work and to love the family, they do a lot more to keep it going because they love their family and their husband. But however, the more they do, the more a woman does, the less he does.
Because say that again for me.
Okay, so the more the woman does to try to make it work, the less he does because he doesn't have to.
Okay, so it's actually got kind of back to that household duty thing you were talking about, isn't
Well,
it?
you think about it in courtship, in the first phase, when the woman really holds back and the man's pursuing, okay, and what that is creating worth for the woman.
Okay.
So once you get married and the woman then does everything, the man then, they lose their worth because the man doesn't really do the same thing because he doesn't need to because he thinks he's conquered her.
Wow.
So men are conquerors, so we conquer our meals, we conquer the road, we conquer our wife, and once we do, we're done with going to something else. And the woman takes over. So the woman really needs to back off to some degree and allow the man to take the lead.
So what do you tell someone if one spouse seems uninterested or disinterested in it? What do you tell them?
That's a really good question. Now, it's bigger than obviously I've got time for here. Okay. However, if a person is not interested, whether it's the husband or the wife, really the best thing to do is ask why. What's going on right now? You got nothing to lose, okay? They're already not interested. So what's going on now that makes you not interested, and what can we do to make the change? However, if there's no interest and they still won't and there's a big divide, I recommend that person go to counseling to talk to somebody professionally to help them understand what they need to do.
See, the point is to me, Craig, and what I hear you saying, and just from my personal experience, is marriages work. And all good marriages take some work, don't they?
Yes, a lot of work.
We just don't stumble into this. It really does take some effort. And so that's why we're providing programming like Main Street, today's edition, talking about that. Now, by the way, Craig, I know you have a number of resources on this particular topic, don't you?
Well, I do recommend, first of all, I recommend people watch this station because there's a lot of very good family-oriented and marriage programming on this station. So that's number one. Number two, I do have some resources off of my website, speaking website that I have, which is feelingsbook.com.
Feelingsbook.com,
right?
yes.
You can go to that. Or obviously, we seek professional counseling. There's Masterpiece Counseling, and that, and then or somebody local. So I have several books out that they can go to that and look those up.
And I know two of your books are When Your Mate is Emotionally Checked Out, and you also wrote Why Feelings Don't Come Easy. So those are all some practical resources we'd like to get into your hands. Again, you know, this is a big topic, folks. Marriage is important, and we really want you to be able to think about this by keeping your spouse connected with you at emotional and physical level and what you can do with it. So thanks so much for watching Main Street. We come back, Virginia and I are going to kind of wrap things up.
WLMB's locally produced Pastor's Point has been impacting lives in the region for 9 years, and now you can request to receive your special edition Pastor's Point coffee mug with your love gift of $50 or more received in the month of August. Enjoy WLMB's family and Christian programs, including the locally produced Pastor's Point, as you relax with your favorite drink. And remember the lives you are impacting when you support WLMB this month with your gift of $50 or more. Thank you for your support to WLMB-TV 40.
The WLMB-TV 40 free monthly program guide provides an easy way for you to make sure you catch all your favorite shows, movies, and specials. Plus, it's a great way for you to find out what's new and exciting at WLMB. There are 3 easy ways to receive your free monthly program guide. Call 1-800-218-5740, write us at WLMB-TV 40, 825 Capitol Commons Drive, Toledo, Ohio 43615, or visit the WLMB.com website and fill out the online program guide request form today.
I didn't need help from anybody. I was good at everything. And this, the drugs and the alcohol, I couldn't stop doing it. I went down a path of destruction. It was just about escaping the feelings. I never used one without the other. It was chaos. A dump truck, insanity plowed into us. I know it was the devil. I actually got suspended from baseball. I said, I need help, and I can't do it anymore. I fell on my own. You do with me what you want to do with me, but I surrender.
Now, back to Main Street.
Well, great stuff there today with Craig Miller.
Yes.
Really enjoyed that. You know, really had some stuff going on in my own life that I could really relate to. A lot of the information that you guys shared. You know, with Ben and I have been married 14 years, and you know, we had a rough patch there too, where I was just so busy with the kids, all their activities and everything that was going on, that he was like screaming at me, "Hey, I'm here, pay attention to me," and you know, and he felt that I was disinterested in him.
And of course, it's all good things. You were part of it. That's kind of what
and
we were
that's,
talking about.
You know, that's what I thought, that, you know, hey, I'm taking care of the kids. I was coaching volleyball, basketball, softball. Somehow I even got roped into soccer, which I never played soccer, and I was coaching it. And, you know, and I just got so busy with everything that I thought, Ben's a big boy, he can take care of himself. But in reality, you know, I needed to focus on what, you know, even though those were good things, those weren't what was best for our family, for our marriage.
And that often happens that way. And I want to read a verse here to you, folks. This is a great verse, and I like when people that I know that are getting married, I often like to put this verse on a card because this really speaks a lot to me. This is Proverbs 18:22. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Now, Virginia, I'm going to go out on a limb here. It says specifically, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. You know, not a male finding a female. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think it works the other way around too.
Absolutely.
That a woman who finds a man finds a good thing, finds a husband, because marriage is a good thing, and it's something we need to treasure and value, and that's why I think it's worked for us.
That's right. You know, just like you said, it's a treasure. It is something that is worth protecting. And the way that we protect our marriage is by valuing one another, and the way that, well, for Ben and I, the way to show value, because something that was so important to him was quality time. And so I needed to you know, set the kids aside for a little bit and show him that he was my treasure.
All right, I want to read to you a few quick verses from Ephesians chapter 5, starting at verse 28. So husbands ought to love your own wives as their own bodies, for he who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it just as the Lord does the church. I just love that line. Nourishes and cherishes. For we are all members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother, be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This is a great mystery I speak concerning Christ and the church. I just love this passage because it shows us how important this picture of marriage is to how Christ relates to his church.
That's right. So, you know, in order for people to have that great marriage, they got to stay in the Word, you know, and, you know, counseling for young couples is just so important.
Oh boy, isn't it though? Yes.
And, you know, I wish that, you know, if you know somebody out there and that's getting married, really encourage them to go to counseling, premarital counseling, and get in the Word.
It's been great having Craig Miller here on board with Main Street talking about this today. What do we have on tap for next week?
Well, next week we're going to have Scott Smith from Evangelism Explosion.
Ah,
it's going to be, you know, talking about how to share your faith, and it's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it.
And here again, it's something that I think we need to take a little bit of work at, you know, to talk about evangelism, talk about relating with each other and how we can, I mean, if we really believe this stuff in the Bible, shouldn't this be something we really want to communicate to people? We're going to be talking about that next week on Main Street, right?
Next week on Main Street.
So we'll see you then.
We hope that Main Street has been a blessing to you today. Please feel free to contact the following to learn more about the topics discussed on today's show. To send your feedback about Main Street or to contact WLMB, you may call, email, or write to us. You can also visit our website at WLMB.com/Main Street for more information. WLMB would like to thank these fine sponsors and all the faithful supporters of WLMB that make this program possible. Main Street is a production of WLMB-TV 40 in Toledo.